my big toe, I guess my socks, they have fuzz on them, so it'll build up like in my toenail, the fuzz from the socks.
That's normal.
And so I'll have to take like a bobby pin or like something and scrape out.
Wait, hold on a second. A bobby pin? I'm sorry. Are we in 1936?
I don't know. I don't have an apparatus to scrape it out. I don't have one of those.
Pin. I just never even heard the term bobby pin.
Bobby pin or a paper clip or something like that.
Term?
Not since I've heard from my grandmother when I was like 6. Go get me a bag of bobby pins.
What the hell was she doing?
Run down to the 5 and Dime and get me some bobby pins.
My permanent.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. My friend's coming over. She's gonna give me a perm.
Did you ever hear it called the 5 and 10?
I've never heard it called a 5 and 10. A 5 and Dime I've heard of.
5 and Dime is the popular one, but I've heard it called a 5 and 10.
No, I never have.
So when I scrape out my toenail and all this the sock like residue comes out, and if you smell that, that smells like hell. Hell would smell like.
I don't think that's only sock residue.
I'm sure it's fungus as
I started bringing it up before when he said, that's when you said don't gloss over what Brian says. I have the same thing because I have bad ingrown toenails that I do surgery myself on now to make sure that nothing collects in there. Like I cut my toes apart to do it.
Do you wear like a stethoscope and everything?
Yeah, obviously.
White coat.
I do wear my white coat. And I keep yelling to my wife, "Get in here, stat!" as I'm doing it. It's really, really hideous. But I do the same thing that I do those surgeries on my toes to get out the. Like I said, it's basically the toe jam, but it's a more hideous jam than I would ever want to be involved with in my life. But I've kind of gotten used to that smell and almost appreciate it when I pull it out. I can't lie. Like I said, that gross moment of just like, hey, did you ever eat the nut that comes out of your throat? It's the hey, when I pull that hunk of grayish white material out of there, I will go like this for a second before throwing it out.
Oh!
I do it. I love it.
You have to. Why? What's with our fascination with smelling things?
I don't know. I mean, like, I understand being a gross person and needing to smell your own stink. You know, everyone loves their own brand, as they say when you pass gas. But every gross I do, like, I don't know. We're hideous. We're hideous, disgusting, vile, awful creatures that should be dead. If any of you feel like being forthcoming and sharing with the show, because I'm sure you will, feel free to give us a call, 877-744-6445. Let us know how gross you are. Let us know what's wrong with you, why you're a hideous beast.
In the chat room, Bourgeoisies had an old buddy, Matt, used to collect and store his belly button lint.
Yes, Matt stored that belly button lint from the point that I was in the maybe 8th grade when I met him. He was in the 7th grade, and I saw that thing. He used to keep them in old film canisters, like, you know, the little black, like, plastic tubes. Mm-hmm. He absolutely used to keep that in there. And then he started transferring it to, he used to get a high profile or a high, like a designer pot dealer that used to bring him glass vials for his pot, and then he started using these big glass vials to store his lint in.
Why would you want to store your lint hair?
I don't
What's
know.
the fascination?
Well, you know what it is? A mutual friend of ours, Joe, a mutual friend of ours, used to do a similar thing with his toenails. And so then I think from that is how Matt started doing it with his belly button lint. Yes, I do remember Matt's belly button lint container. I totally forgot about that. Like little film canisters, like little 35 millimeter film canisters. By the way, for the kids out there, we want you to understand, there was a time when cameras used to have film in them, and you used to take it out and bring it to a place to get it developed. It's a different world than the digital age that we live now. Yeah, it was really hideous. Well, as gross as that is about Matt, come on, bourgeoisie. What's the grossest thing about you? This isn't about exposing other people. This is about exposing yourself, getting yourself out there, letting people know. Let's see.
Sometimes I'll bite my fingernails and use the fingernail as like dental floss and put it in between my teeth. It's pretty gross. That's a good one.
By the way,
how does that even work?
By the way, on the gross, time out a second. On the gross conversation, I have an IM from Keith's wife saying, "Where is Keithy? I love him. Tell him I said so." You're gross.
Well, I was about to say, all of you are the worst people in the world because you eat ketchup.
Oh, the grossest thing about you is once you saw ketchup. Yeah, I don't know what it is that intrigues me about this stuff. Like I said, I know lots of gross things about other people. I don't want to expose other. Maybe I will start exposing other people, but not by name. I've seen a male talk about the fact that he can lactate, which he obviously couldn't, and then he went on to squeeze his little ninny, and I watched a little bit of white liquid come out of the tip of his nipple.
No, but did he ever have his nipple pierced? Was it that cheese that you're talking about?
No.
Ooh.
Which is, by the way, why I will never take my nipple rings off now. After thinking about what happened to my ears, my ear cheese, I will never take my nipple rings out for the rest of my life.
This has to be over. I can't take
So you saw a guy squirt milk
a guy that we all know. I'll tell you who it is after the show. But a guy that we all know.
Come on, Keith, do it.
I watched.
Do it.
I don't know who it is. I once knew because I was told the story, but I don't remember.
Yeah, on the 4th of July, after playing a show with him, as I'll narrow it down, and you know that he was someone that I was in a band with at some point, he squeezed his nipple, and I watched this milk-like substance come out.
Was that you?
And I watched his girlfriend look at him appalled as if she'd never seen it before. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, almost started gagging right there. I mean, not almost started gagging, almost threw up right there. It was one of the worst things ever.
I need to know this now.
Yeah, you'll all know after the show.
Awesome. Can we end the show now?
Yeah. I know a lot of people are wishing that we would, as they're sitting holding their, saying, "Hey, isn't there something else on TPX that we could?"
I would have turned this off already.
See, I find it appealing. I find it appealing to know what's gross about people. Hey, man.
Maybe that's the worst thing about you.
But I mean, it's I don't know. I guess it's a dynamic that I'm into.
Now, what do you think is the worst of what you heard here? What you heard right now? What do you think?
It's easily somewhere between my ear cheese and Brian's throat collector.
It's double throat.
Yeah, Brian's rotting food in his throat.
Brian's is so abnormal.
But apparently it's not. I think you could probably go on the internet and find out how to clean out your second
gullet.
mouth.
Would it be gullet?
It's called a glodule for some reason.
See, I think a gullet is somewhere in the front. Like I always equate a gullet to what a turkey has.
Is that what a craw is when somebody says something sticks in their
sticking
craw?
in his. You know what? It very well might be. It very well might be. You're listening to Best in Show, the Gross Out edition here on TPX Radio, tpxradio.com. Also on Stickcam and Pal Talk. If you want to check us out through Pal Talk, shoot over to TV/radio, click on Talk Shows, and click on Best in Show Radio.
Ugh. That's pretty bad. Your cheeses, I think, might be a little worse, though.
Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible smell. And the thing is, the fact of how I discovered it, that's why I was intrigued with Brian, like how he discovered it. It was just like out of nowhere one day, like I decided, hey, I wanted to wear earrings. And I'm like, so I only discovered this in the past year. It's like, hey, I wanted to, and I went to put an earring in my ear, and white schmutz started coming out of the back of my ear. And then I squeezed my ear, and here's it's a little worse. As I squeezed my ear, if you didn't know, I've had like 10 earring holes. So I squeezed my ear, and it was like 7 or 8 little worms started coming out of all the holes at the same time, one out of each hole. It was hideous. It was hideous.
And it was like, does it look like a zit, like a whitehead, like you would pop a pimple?
Not quite that.
Or more liquidy.
No. It's just as solid, but not that big of an explosion coming out. It's like a little tiny little worm, little worms coming out of my ears. Yeah, little maggots, if you will, coming out of my ears. That's what it looks like. Best in Show, bestinshowradio.com.
So you're the first person.
Enjoy the flavor.
You're the first person who will be officially less gross when you die, and the maggots are eating away at your body.
It'll be status quo. It won't be less gross. It's just status quo. Yeah, and I don't think that's going to happen either. I think I might want to get burnt up. I think getting burnt up is probably the way to go. We've had this discussion before in the show. I don't like the idea of being burned, just in case there's some sort of feelings that you could still somehow have as you're slowly rotting. But I'm sure that the second you die, it just goes to black and there's nothing there.
There has to be something more with Keith. I don't believe that just his ear